Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Ramona Galey, and I'm so happy that she said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, Caroline. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm really looking forward to our chat. I know we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yes, you name it. It's fun. It's fun doing podcasts and talking about our favorite topics. And of course, I would love to introduce you to the audience. You help spiritual overthinkers discover their purpose and reclaim their brilliance. As a vibrational mentor, spiritual success coach, and award-winning author, you empower clients to harness their desires and inner guidance for consistent success. You founded HeartSet Academy and the Alignment Circle Mastermind using the transformative approach that saved your own life a decade ago. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Ramona Galey.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
And I'm so blessed with your presence today. I feel it already. And when I read this vibrational coach or something, I felt the vibrations or the
Nice.
frequency raising. Yeah, it works already. Okay, my first question to you is, what pivotal moment inspired you to develop your unique approach to helping spiritual overthinkers?
Well, the pivotal event was my life partner, the love of my life, the only reason for living. She died in my arms 10 years ago. And that was it. That was the pivotal moment. Like I see my life very much as before that and after that, kind of like, BAD or BC and AD, like with Jesus. I say like this very clear line in my life. And I was prepared to follow her. I had saw no reason to stay on this earth without her. And fate intervened. The phone rang, and it was her good friend Lordella. And Lordella introduced me to a spiritual approach that I had never heard of before. And that was it. That was the turning point. I saw just that little glimmer of hope. It took a while to implement and to learn and to absorb and to practice and then eventually to teach. And but that was the pivot point right there. And I'm so, of course, obviously happy to be here. I'm so glad that fate did intervene. And so it's all very lighthearted for me. People a lot of times say, "Well, how can you talk about your partner dying, and not cry and not?" But it's just so beautiful. Like everything is so beautiful now, and everything's fun, and we're meant to have fun on this earth, and that's what I am pursuing now, and that's what I want to help other people to understand. It's such a relief, and it's so beautiful, and it's so perfect. The system we have is actually perfect. There's nothing to complain about or criticize or anything. Like everything, all is well, and that's a big message for me. So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing this with us, with me. I feel it, and it feels peaceful, like yeah, peaceful and fun
Yeah.
at the same
Yes.
time.
At the same time, yeah, that's the part that a lot of times people are like, wait a minute, what? Because how can you be laughing uproariously and then talking about God or source or vibrations or alignment or, it's so easy to get up in our heads about all of that. But when we're in our bodies and we're right here, right now, everything's hilarious and everything's very loving and soft and warm. And it's so beautiful. I feel like saying, come on in, the water is fine. Come on, it's good. It's good.
Oh my goodness. And just today I made a decision because I'm studying this a lot, like audio books or something like that, and
Yeah.
I get inspired, of course. And then I heard something about it was about reality or so, and it says, "What is reality? It is the present moment." And to welcome the
Mm.
present moment, it was so beautiful.
Yes, it's really true. It's whatever we focus on, really. If we're focused in the present moment, that's the most beautiful, most satisfying. But if I'm focused on something that happened 10 years ago, for example, if I stayed focused on that, that would be my reality. It would be grief and sadness and loss and lack. And I think that's the biggest message I want to get out. We can control what we're focusing on. It's really the only thing we can control. And when we focus on what feels good and focus right here, right now on things that we can actually have something, we can't change the past, we can't change the future, but we're right here, right now. And that is the most joyful place to be. And that's what we can control. We could be happy right now, no matter what is going on. I love that.
I love that too. And we are so aligned. And this is also your topic. And just today, I think there was something, I have to mention it because it fits in, about the Zen Buddhism, something like that. And it says, there's only one reality, or the only reality is the present moment. So you said we can focus on the past or on the future and have worries and doubts. I know you didn't say this, but in your frequency you said this, okay? And then you bring this sadness and all the stuff you don't want in the present moment, and then
Yes.
this becomes your reality. This is what you said, or what I understood. So thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much
no, I
for
totally align with that.
yeah,
Yeah, that you
I
said it even
like,
better than
because
I did. That's great.
next level. So it is. So what I said about what I learned today, not sometimes you heard it before 10,000 times and you
Oh,
don't get
yeah.
it, and then one word is different or something, and you get it, and it's not my mother language, but I study all that I study in English. I don't know why, but and then but there will be a reason. And then it clicked somehow, and now I decided to focus more on that. Let's say it
Beautiful.
nicely. Okay, my next question is: how do you guide clients in leveraging personal assets they may not even realize they have?
Oh, I love this question because, we think of our personal assets, like what do I have to leverage, to get what I want out of life. We tend to think those assets are our background, our training, our education, our experience, who we know, how much money we have, whether we have food or even in the refrigerator, or even just a place to live. Like we think of those as kinds of things as our assets. But what we really have is pure love flowing to us all the time. What we really have is our resilience. What we really have is our ability to control what we focus on. Just like as if we were pick up a camera, and you put your eye up to and there's the lens, and you can look around and say, okay, I want that right there. Then you can turn the little lens thing and get it perfectly in focus. We can do that with a camera, and we think frequently that we can't do that in real life, but we can. And that's an asset. That is a skill. That is an ability that's God given, that we're born with, that nobody can take that away. We can choose what we focus on. And as soon as we recognize that and accept that, and then start to train it, I should say retrain it, because when we're born, we know. Imagine a baby, you pinch a baby and they cry like, ow, that hurts, stop it, or, oh, I'm hungry, feed me, or, oh, that's funny, I'm laughing freely. Like we know how we feel and what we want when we're babies, but we're trained away from that. So what I help people do is retrain themselves back to it. And that starts with just acknowledging that I have the right to choose what I focus on. I don't have to focus on something else just because my parents said I should, or my government says I have to, or my friends all pressuring me to. I can choose what I focus on. So that's just one of the assets that I help people get reacquainted with, and then get skilled with, and then enjoy all the fruits of that asset. That's an incredible asset. It makes you so powerful. Just controlling your own focus makes you powerful beyond words. Powerful. So yeah, that's what I do.
Wow, I love that. Okay, so there were so many nuggets in it. Especially, I love the word choice, of course, because this is also the name of the or part of the name of the podcast. Because most of the people, and you mentioned it, are not aware that they have a choice at all. So when you ask them, "What do you want?" or so, "What do you want in life?" then they don't know. They don't know that they get to choose. So we
Yeah.
have to teach this first, and then encourage them to make a choice, to make
Yeah.
to go for it, so to say, right?
Yeah, beautifully said. Beautiful. And I love that. The inspired choice. Yeah, in the name of your podcast itself is in it by itself inspired. That is the choice of your name was an inspired choice, right? Like that's a perfect example. And when you ask somebody, what do you want? And they don't know, like when I don't know what I want, that means that I'm in resistance to my own desires. Because again, going back to the baby or even the toddler, they know exactly what they want and they'll pester you until you give it to them, right? They won't give up. Dogs, animal, cats, and they know exactly what they want. They haven't been trained away from just saying, and to the point of saying, well, that's okay. I'll just be okay. I don't really need anything or all these so desire, that would be another asset that many of us don't know we have. We think we've left our desires behind. I wanted to be a ballerina when I was a kid. How many times you hear I wanted to be a musician, but I became an accountant instead, or whatever it is. Like, we have those desires. They haven't gone anywhere. And when you recognize the power and the beauty, the perfection, the divinity of our own desires, now you can start to open up to, oh, what is it that my heart really wants right now? I can be safe. I can know that my desires are divine. I'm not going to hurt anybody with them. They're not going to be inappropriate. All these things that we're afraid of about our own desires, when you learn to trust your own desires, then they can speak to you and then they can come to you. Like, you can let them in. And that's the only difference. That's another one of those assets that we have that we frequently don't know we have. We have the asset, the power of our own desires.
Wow, so beautiful. I love how you pointed out the difference or the polarity between desire and resistance as well. And desire, the Greek word, it means from God. So it's given to you as,
Ooh,
yes, desire is desire, and sir, the from God, it means from God, so it comes to you. It's not your own will or your ego. It is given to you, and you are invited, I would say, in my words, you are invited to develop or to let it in, as you said, to allow yourself to receive it. Yes, and the two words missing here when you mentioned this is settle, to settle for less, and doing compromises. This is what
yeah.
what I tell people: don't compromise, because when your desire is to have a 6 room or 6 bedroom house, then you don't settle for a 4 room house, because then the space is taken, right?
Sure.
So the other one cannot come.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And what a gift you've just given me. I did not know that desire in Greek meant from God. I mean, I feel that, I vibrationally understand it, but I didn't know that intellectually about the Greek. And so that's a huge, I mean, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Because it really is true. You can really feel the resonance of that. And wow, what a great gift. Thank you. Thank you.
It is. So in the first 300 episodes of this podcast, I was so afraid to ask. No, it was a different purpose. I always ask the same 5 questions to everyone. I had
Good.
not personalized questions like I do now, or I have now. So I always ask, what are your gifts and talents? And I would like to do this with you, because I asked the questions. I didn't know the answers for myself when I started last year. So I said, I I have no gifts and talents. I don't know what they are, or I don't know what inspires me. So I asked all the people. So what are your gifts and talents, Ramona?
Well, I am kinesthetic. They talk about it when I went through my teacher training very young, I learned that there were visual processors and auditory processors and kinesthetic processors. And I was assuming, I was taught that I was a visual processor because I did well in school, because I was good at taking tests and some of these more kind of superficial reasons. Well, I found out in I'm going to say my late 40s that I'm actually a kinesthetic processor. And so we were taught that the kinesthetic processors were the kids who didn't do well in school, who couldn't sit still, who couldn't focus on anything. They were behavior problems. They were on the stupid side. They never actually said that, but they kind of implied that kinesthetic processors were, less than intelligent, that the most intelligent were the visuals. And so when I discovered I was a kinesthetic processor so late in life, I was like, wait a minute, what? And what I learned was and especially through my spiritual travels, is that being a kinesthetic processor first, and I actually believe we're all kinesthetic processors, but being kinesthetic first actually gives me a huge advantage because it's easier for me to feel into my body. I'm more practiced at it because, like, as a young trumpet player, my first career, I was a classical trumpet player. And so it was all about breathing. It was all about expanding my lung capacity and holding long phrases and using a strong, what they called thick air, even when I'm playing very softly. It was all about getting in touch with my body and breath. And what is inspiration? It is to breathe in, right? So it's all about breathing. And so these kinds of assets or gifts or talents that I bring to the table so many years later are already well developed in my body, in my breath, in my heart. And so this is what I help other people with, people who haven't had necessarily that whole background. They've always just been focused visually, or they've always been focused auditorially, and I help them get back into their bodies, which is where we all actually live. It's the only place you can live. If you're being right here, right now, you're in your body. If you're not in your body, you're not completely right here, right now. And it sounds like semantics maybe at first, but it's really true. And it's a kinesthetic, no pun intended, fact of of reality, the physicalness of it, of our emotions is where our guidance is. We can't we can't get into our guidance if we don't love and trust our bodies first. And this is really important for women, especially because we're taught not to like our bodies. And so when we start to really love our bodies again and trust, now we can tap into all that intuition, all that guidance. Everything that we want is right there, just waiting for us. We don't have to go find it, it's just right there. We just rediscover it.
Oh, I understand. Even if I don't understand, it's a little bit scary what you said. You help, no, yes, you help the people getting back in their bodies, or loving them more, that they
Mhm.
accept it. And also what we said before, what was it? Mm, because it's like the present moment, right? You can only be fully present when you are in your body, because otherwise, where are you? You are, I don't
Yes,
know
yes.
where you are. You are not here, not on earth.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And a lot of people, they say, "What does that mean, get into your body?" I mean, I'm in my body right now. What do you mean? And so, of course, we're talking about focus. We're talking about perception. We're talking about uh, welcomingness. It's not that we're actually outside of our body somewhere, although some people would argue that we are. But that's not what I mean. I just mean the focus, the love, the acceptance, the beingness, the knowingness. Like, where do you feel that in your body? If you can't feel it, you're not 100% settled into your body, focus wise, perception wise, desire wise. Yeah, it's so important. It's the difference of everything. You could talk about spiritual concepts all day long and still never really get where you want to go. Bring it into your body and boom, just like that. Just like that.
Yes, I agree. Talking is like distraction as well, and the thoughts are not your thoughts. We all know this, and the real. Oh, I read this today in Rhonda Byrne's book. What was it? No, it was yesterday. Logic is what you learned, and intuition is your heart, or something like that.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was really great. Okay, my next question to you is, can you share a success story where someone transformed their life using your HeartSet Academy principles?
Oh, absolutely. Well, probably everybody, I mean, every client I've ever had has had a major transformation. Probably the if I was going to think of one, I frequently think of a young woman, probably one of the youngest clients I've ever worked with. And she came, she was very unhappy at work. She was very unhappy in her marriage. She was very unhappy because she was trying to have a second child and it was not working out. She didn't feel supported at all by her immediate family, and she was really struggling. So, but we had worked together for a while when before it came out that she had actually been institutionalized as a teenager for anorexia and bulimia. So she had severe body image issues that she wasn't even really talking about. They were being externally manifested in discontent, and conflict and resistance. But as soon as that came up, which was just when she was ready, it's totally fine that it takes as long as it takes, right? When you're ready and you're ready to actually get back into your body because you're starting to feel safer and you're starting to understand more what's going on, you're starting to develop your skills. At that moment when you're ready, it's a total game changer. And you can't do any of that if you don't trust and like your body. So you've got to get back into your body. And as soon as she stepped back in, and I mean that vibrationally, I don't mean that physically, but vibrationally stepped back into her body, everything started to change. Everything. She changed jobs. She's actually a very inspirational coach. She had a second child very, very late, biologically speaking, one of those kind of miracle children. And her marriage is going much, much better. She's got much better relationships with all of her family members and friends. She's feeling very fulfilled and happy and contributing. She's living her purpose, her mission, and she has this beautiful family. So that would be probably the one that kind of encapsulates from start to finish, a pretty dramatic start to a pretty dramatic finish. But everybody gets whatever their personal transformation is. You don't have to be that out of alignment to come in. In fact, I work mostly with people who are already coaches and experts and consultants and teachers and therapists who are just, they've accomplished a lot, but they can just feel like, I can feel there's still something holding me back. And once we get them really finely tuned into alignment, then their businesses take off, their personal lives, whatever is going on. It could be anything, but their personal life starts to really settle in. Their sense of satisfaction increases exponentially. And it's a total transformation. It's a total transformation. Almost hard to predict where you might go, but it would be where you want to go, not where anybody else says you should be. It's where you want. That's the best part of it.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing. It is like, yeah, when you accept to be guided also, if you surrender, I think this is another word. And I would like to know, as my last question to you, because normally I ask the people, you see, I hesitate here because it's different. So I ask people um, if they set goals for themselves or intentions, and what is one of their next projects. So I want to know from you if you think that goal setting is something, because you focus. You focus from the goal, or you focus on the goal, and that all means you don't have it, right? You are separated from the goal. So I want to know your opinion about, um, what is it? Would you advise people to to set goals, or what are your words about
Well,
that?
so the old SMART goal is, in the business world and in the self-help world, there that we focus a lot on SMART goals. And so I don't think there's anything upstream or out of alignment about a goal. I mean, it's basically just a desire, right? But the way that our culture, at least here in the United States, I'm not sure about in Germany, but I suspect it's similar. The way that our culture approaches goals is in a very rigid way. Like SMART is about assigning a deadline. Let's just take that right there, just that one facet of a SMART goal. When you say, I want such and I'm going to accomplish it. So, first of all, you're already kind of pushing it away because you're saying it's outside of me and I'm going to go chase it down. I'm going to hunt it down, right? And I'm going to beat it into submission and then I'm going to own it. So, there's already a little bit of out of alignment there. When you add a deadline to that, oh boy, you've really just kind of thrown everything out the window vibrationally. So, because that attachment, what I would call an attachment or an entanglement of a timeline, because there is no time. There is no such thing as time. Everything is right here, right now. Nothing else exists. You think it exists because if you have a memory, then you can feel it, right? But what you've done is you've taken something from the past that may or may not have actually happened, doesn't matter, and you bring it right here. Okay, now it's here. Now it does exist. And you're worried about something in the future. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a future. But you see it and you imagine it and you bring it right here to right here, right now. Now it exists. Now I'm worried. Now I'm anxious. So because there is no real time, everything's happening all at once. It's already happened. It's happening now. It's gonna happen. It's all at once. Like that's there is no time. It's a human construct. So by setting an artificial deadline, saying I'm going to accomplish this by tomorrow at noon, or I'm going to do this in exactly 1 year or less, or else I'm a failure, feel the out of alignment of all of that. So that's what we do to our goals, to our dreams, to our hopes, to our desires. We turn them into an intellectual, unachievable thing. Now I know you're going to get a lot of feedback on this, probably a lot of blowback on this, because oh no, I accomplished everything in my life because I had a goal and I set a deadline. I would say you accomplished it in spite of yourself, because the desire contains all the resources. If you have a pure desire and you don't have any resistance to it, it will come very quickly. I don't know if it's going to be by noon or by 3 or by tomorrow, but it's going to come quickly. And when you release that resistance of having it to be at a certain time or by a certain time, then it can come very quickly. And it doesn't matter how long it takes because you've already become it. When you really interact well with your desires, like the desire is pure, it always feels good. If it doesn't feel good, it's because you've got some attachments to it, some entanglements. When you let all that fall away and you just focus on the desire, first and foremost, and most important, it feels good. You become your desire. When you become your desire, then your desire can become you. And that's the match. And it comes right away, it comes very quickly. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. So that's my opinion on goals. We can mess them
Oh,
up or we can do them well. Either one doesn't matter.
thank you so much. I also heard a goal is a dream with a deadline, and yeah, and and we call there was a time we called it love line instead of deadline. But yeah, thank you so much. I learned so much you won't believe about desire, and I have to re-listen to this, of course, to get the no. There is no. I don't have to. I don't have to. It's received. Thank you so much. There was the paradigm. Okay, and now it's time for your last or final thoughts to the audience.
Oh, to your audience, I would say you can start right now. And I recommend you start right now to start getting more into your body, more into the present moment, and you will always feel better as soon as you do this. So for anybody who's a little bit out of a sorts for whatever reason, doesn't matter if it's a condition or a self-loathing or anything in between, start right now. Take a couple of yeah, a couple of deep breaths. Come right into your body and stay there as long as you can. Just focus right there. Do it right now and feel the serenity of it. Feel the calm and the peacefulness and the stillness of it. Within this stillness, all things are possible, and you can start right now.
Oh my goodness. I forgot to stop the recording because it's so beautiful. I'm forever grateful. Thank you so much. Best
Thank you.
message ever.
Thank you. I've had a lovely time visiting with you. Thank you so much for having me on.
And see you in the next episode now.